Compliments of the season, students and parents at home, and welcome to today's edition of Literature for West Africa, coming to you from Its Moods Television in collaboration with the Imo State Government and Its Moods Enterprises. Today, we are taking yet another poem in that list that was sent to us by the West African Examination Council. Alright, and this is a poem written by the only Nigerian Nobel laureate, Professor Wole Soyinka. Alright, and the title of this poem is Night. Alright, Night. Alright, this is a very striking and important poem, for you that's in secondary school that's going to take senior WAEC, as they call it, from next 2 years, okay? Because the ones that will take for next year will use the last, edition of the set books that WAEC sent, okay? This one will start running from 2026, okay? Yes, the ones that will write by 2025 will use the previous set books, okay? That's an important clarification that I need to make, okay? All right, now, Night. Remember that Wole Soyinka practiced what has been adjudged in literary circles as the philosophy or tradition of obscurantism. Okay, yes. In their generation, poetry wasn't the language of everyone. Alright? Poetry was solely written for an exclusive group of people who were, adjudged to be very, very intelligent and brilliant. Okay? So that's why when Oshundere and his generation came up, what they did was to, subtly or very deliberately, write in such a way that's in opposition to what their predecessors, the generation of Wole Soyinka, did. Okay, so this is a poem steeped in esotericism. Okay, it will take you, a very painstaking effort for you to decode what the poem is actually all about. And remember that Wole Soyinka in his writings, advanced the philosophy of animism to a great extent. And what is animism? The belief that, everything in existence has an essence, alright? If you call it a soul, that's what the layman will understand. But they said everything in existence has a vital essence, okay? That's what the philosophy of animism is all about, okay? Now, the second thing to note is that the poetry of Wole Soyinka is often riddled with his avowal, of what is called polytheism, okay? They believe that, God in heaven is not the only God, okay? Yes. If you read Wole Soyinka's write-ups, you will find out that he acknowledges the existence of the Yoruba gods, the Ogun, the Obatala, the Orisha, and all those gods in Yoruba land, okay? So most of the things that he writes, exhibit animism or highlights the philosophy of animism, polytheism, and also the Yoruba mythology, the myth of the Yoruba world in general, okay? So it's a very, very, very strong, and if you call it difficult, well, it's understandable, okay? So it's a very important poem for you, and this background that I've given would help you appreciate what this poem is all about. All right, so before we continue, please let's take these few minutes or few seconds break. I'll be right back.
Makata Makata EO. There are so many things you could do at Itsmith Enterprises, from creating original and fascinating jingles to typing, printing, and photocopying your documents. Computer and IELTS lessons are crucial services we offer to our clients at a very pocket-friendly rates. You could also contract us to ghostwrite books of any length and type for you. What's more, we compose, teach, and produce songs for individuals and institutions. That's not all. If you want to add color to your outdoor events, Ismail's crew is the best crew to work with. You can reach us on 080 6235 8606 or 09.
Now you're welcome back from that very short break, and remember the title of the poem that we're treating today is titled Night. Okay, and it was written by Wole Soyinka. Now I checked the first few, lines because it's not divided into stanzas or verses. Okay, remember that's the peculiar way that Wole Soyinka writes. Okay, he rarely or seldom divides his poem into stanzas or verses. Okay, so let's look at it the first few lines, and then I'll go ahead and explain what the poem is about. Okay, now it reads, "Your hand is heavy, night upon my brow. I bear no hurt, mercuric like the clouds, to dare exacerbation from your subtle plow. Woman is a clam on the sea's crescent. I saw your jealous eye quench the sea's fluorescence, dance on the pause incessant of the waves, and I stood drained." Right? Yes. Now let me explain, what this first few lines means, okay? Yes. Now, your hand is heavy upon my brow, night upon my brow. Now, remember, the central word of this poem is night, all right? And when you hear night, what often comes to your mind, the pedestrian or quotidian explanation is, night as darkness, the time of the day that's dark, where you need to on your lantern or turn on the light. Okay, if you have one in your area. Okay, so that's what comes to your mind. That's the first level of interpretation of this poem, night. Okay, but for literature students and scholars, there's what they call connotative interpretation. Okay, that's the most important one for you to do, not the surface interpretation. Now, the connotative interpretation of this poem has to do with adversity of life, the unpredictability of human existence. Okay, remember they said life is full of ups and downs. Okay, when that time that a man is confronted with the most difficult challenge of life. All right, now your hand adversity or difficulty of life is heavy upon my brow. Now, brow here represents the human being, the individual person. Hand here has to do with the weight or the intensity of adversity that is coming to this individual that's being referred to here in this poem. So, if you would restate that first line, it will be, the heaviness of adversity is too much on this individual that he knows that it would take the intervention of preternatural forces for that adversity to leave him or her alone, or for him or her to overcome the adversity. Because the word mercuric has to do with, is what they call an allusion in literature, referring to a Roman god of commerce. Okay, and you know what a marketplace looks like. It has a very preternatural undertone. Okay, a market is not just where human beings gather. When human beings gather and finish their trading in the daytime, spirits also come out at night, according to African law, right, to continue their whole mercantilistic activities in that same square. All right, so you see, it's a poem that is very strong. It will take you something for you to interpret. Okay, so and it says, to their exacerbation of your subtle plow. Okay, now I said earlier the unpredictability of human existence. When adversity of life will hit you or hit any individual, the person wouldn't have a meditated notice. Okay, nothing will notify you that something bad is about to come. It hits you when you least expect. So it's called subtle plow. When this adversity comes, nature brings it in such a way that it shakes the individual person. Okay, so woman as a clam on a sea crescent. Okay, this is the aspect of the Yoruba pantheon that you have to be very, very careful about. Okay, the clam here ordinarily on the surface level is a sea creature. All right, it has a shell. Okay, and you know what a shell symbolizes. Okay, a shell means it represents sturdiness, ability to withstand adversity, adverse, weather condition, atmospheric condition. So it's the words in this poem all connect to each other. It's a very, very, very interesting poem. Okay, now woman as a clam means there's a culture, there's a cultural practice in Yoruba land. Okay, there's a group of women known as the Yalawas or the Obirins. Okay, there's this if you call it a court, you wouldn't be totally wrong. Okay, there's this group that have their meeting at night. Okay, a group of women at the river. All right, yes, it is a popular practice in Oyo State, Oshobo to be precise. Okay, yes, this is a poem that has different links to different things that happen in real life. Okay, so woman as a clam, I saw your jealous eye. Okay, it's now the activities of these women which connotes the activity of the Yoruba deity. All right, yes, they are representing the Yoruba deity. It's able to withstand the adversity. The poet persona is saying that it's only the power, the supernatural power, all right, the preternatural forces that will be able to help the person who is so fated to be able to overcome the adversity that has hit the person. Okay, now this is where I'm going to stop in explaining this poem because of time constraint. Now remember to pay attention to your teachers, okay, because it's very, very important. Time constraint. Okay, now and then if you're asking me, let me bring out few themes, okay, and then highlight few literary devices used in this poem. Now the first theme, all right, that I have identified today for you is the fact that one must seek, one cannot handle the adversity alone. If you want to take care of adverse situations, okay, you need to engage or elicit the help of the supernatural. Remember that we are Christians and we believe in God. So when bad things happen, you call on God to help you. But this is a poem that's riddled in African traditional religion, okay, that highlights that. So it makes reference of African traditional religion. So one must seek, in most cases, because human beings have limited powers. Okay, there's a limit to what a human being can do. So, and when natural adversity hits you, you have to elicit the assistance of preternatural forces or supernatural forces, the one you prefer to call it. Okay, and the second one is that man is always vulnerable, susceptible. Man is always helpless in the hands of fate. Okay, yes, you know what fate is? Not F-A-I-T-H, but F-A-T-E, fate. Okay, the fate in literature that has to do with destiny, predestination. Okay, that aspect, that's the fate we are talking about, as regards this poem. All right, so these are the two two themes that I am bringing for you today. Now, a look at a few literary devices. On right here, from the first line, you see personification. Your hand is heavy. Hand. Knight has no hand, so not to talk of the one that's heavy. And then the knight, the word knight, is a symbol of something, adversity. Now, brow, synecdoche, for those of you in literature, you know what synecdoche is. And then like has to do with simile, clam, allusion, I've already said that, okay? So these are the few ones that I've identified. Now make sure that you continue to pay attention to your teachers. They will give you further information regarding the rest of the explanation of this poem. It's very, very steep, okay? It's a very, very good one. Alright, remember that this is brought to you by H-Smith Enterprises in conjunction with the state government, His Excellency the Governor, Chief, does he take the appellation chief? Okay, Uzodema, Hope Uzodema, okay? Alright, and my name remains MC Likeliki Okapogochku Amos saying bye for now, and remember to keep a date with us next week. Goodbye.